Welcome to the Jeremy and Andy Talk Movies podcast. I'm Jeremy,
I'm Andy, aka Rocket Man.
aka Rocket Man, because of your extensive knowledge of pyrotechnics, right?
Correct.
Yes. Andy, I'm sure you did a lot of bad things back in your day, and now you've got to protect your children from it.
Exactly what's happening. I can't believe PTA just stole my life story like that.
Exactly. So this week we are going to be talking about the new PTA movie, One Battle After Another. I go back and forth on whether I call this the new PTA movie or whether I call this the new Leonardo DiCaprio movie.
Right.
It depends on who I'm talking to. You know, if I'm trying to explain what this movie is. Obviously, the more common movie viewer, if I say it's the new Leonardo DiCaprio movie, they're much more likely to go, "Oh, okay, yeah, I've heard of that."
Same here.
Yep. So we're gonna jump right into this one. I'm gonna give my summary, and then we'll talk about, what we think about the movie. I'm already worried about. I watched this movie. I guess a little background. I watched this movie Saturday, and that was 3 days ago now. And already I'm worried about the pronunciation of our lead female's character in this movie.
And it's a lot of movie too.
Yeah, all right. So let me see if I can get this down with the summary. So Bob and Perfidia were prominent members of the revolutionary group, the French 75. And after years of hiding out with his daughter, Bob's past catches up with him as an old foe comes looking for him and his daughter.
Yeah.
This is one of those ones that could have gone really deep or gone really short
Just
with
keep
the
it
summary.
short,
Yeah. All right, Andy, here's
Yeah.
the big question. Was One Battle After Another good?
One Battle After Another is one of the best movies I've ever seen.
All right. Wow.
Yeah.
You
It
are
really
coming
is.
with the hot takes lately, Andy.
Look,
Okay.
why beat around the bush, man? Just dive right into it. This is one of the best movies I have ever seen.
Okay. All right. Andy, this is one of the movies I have ever seen.
That's incredible.
I think that I actually really like that I had a few days to marinate on this movie because after a few days, what I've realized is I haven't done much marinating. I don't think this movie is going to stick with me at all. I think
Really?
this is an incredibly well-made movie. I think this movie is it's actually nothing. It's cotton candy. It's fluff. There's nothing behind it. Everything again, top notch done. There's nothing to marinate on here for me, and so it's just kind of already come and gone in my conscience.
Man, this might be the most we've ever had opposite viewpoints on a movie.
As when you came out and said one of the best movies you've ever seen, I was like, "Yep, there it is. We're finally going to really disagree on a movie."
Happen. It was bound to happen.
Yes, it was. All right, so let's jump into it, man. Just tell me some of the things that you love about this movie.
So let me say this right off the get-go. I am not saying this is one of the best movies I've ever seen because it's like, oh, I understand the deep political subtext of this movie. If anybody knows me at all, I'm probably the least political human being gracing planet Earth at any given time. It's not that. It's the combination of how PTA makes this movie feel important and weighty and like it really is dealing with stuff, but it's so dang entertaining. And it's got the most incredible, just such dark sense of humor. And it draws some laughs out of just some absolutely just horrible, terrible things and behaviors and stuff. And it's just this, it's a long movie, but I thought it just had an amazing forward momentum. I thought it was just always moving. And I think this movie does a lot of important things. And if you want me to go ahead and list them, I can, but I don't want to just hog up the beginning of this podcast.
No, I want you to go, man. I want to be positive to start here.
I think part of my enthusiasm for this movie is because it's doing a lot of things. I think this is Leo just planting his flag and just making a real strong case for the GOAT, for the greatest of all time. And not necessarily just for this performance, but just this performance as a culmination of this career. And especially if you go from like Titanic, where he becomes like the ultimate heartthrob, to how good and how willing he is to just play a burnout loser in this movie. Just an unbelievable journey. I think it's establishing PTA, which, to a lot of people, I think he was already there, but it's establishing him as one of the most important filmmakers of our time. And this is coming from someone, I don't love all of PTA's movies like a lot of people do. I think, what's the one with Daniel Day-Lewis where he's like a tailor?
Oh, Phantom Thread.
Phantom Thread. I think that is just such a boring movie. I'm not just a PTA fanboy, but I don't think you can deny anymore after he's made something like this that he's so important. It's painting a clear picture, I think, to where we're going to the Oscars, because this is going to get a ton of nominations.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's establishing, and I know we'll get to this, but it's establishing the actress Chase Infinity as someone to probably look out for. And it gives us one of the absolute greatest performances in movie history from Sean Penn. A supporting actor performance that I think deserves to be mentioned in the same breath as Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight or Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men. I think this is an all-time performance from Sean Penn. You mark my words, he is winning the Best Supporting Actor Oscar.
Okay, here's the crazy thing, Andy. I'm not going to disagree with almost anything that you said.
Yeah.
I wrote, my first note is that the acting is top notch in this, and Leo is so good in this movie. He is so funny in this movie, and I was thinking about it. It's like I've not made a Leo Mount Rushmore, but I was like, I think this movie would be on it because I enjoyed him in it so much, and I'm really loving late career Leo.
My gosh.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was so good, but it's almost like PTA saw Leo do the improv scene where he goes in his trailer and he's pitching that like hissy fit over himself, and he goes, yes, I want you to do that
for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it was really funny stuff. I agree with you about Sean Penn being really good in this movie. Where I'd say that it's going to fall short of being a legendary performance is that I think he's doing incredible stuff. I think the character is just not that interesting to me.
Really?
Whereas like Heath Ledger's Joker is so fascinating. I could watch every scene he does.
Yeah.
Everything he says is interesting. Javier Bardem is so creepy and like has such a presence. And this guy's like, well, he's really just kind of a creepy weirdo, and nothing he says is ever going to stick with me other than like all that sticks with me really is his walk. And that's all.
Oh my gosh.
Penn. So I get it. Like, if Penn wins Best Supporting Actor, I'm not going to be upset because I think he's doing a whole lot with not a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to PTA, I think this is my big disconnect. I just don't think there could be a filmmaker that is just more different from me personality-wise than PTA. And that's a lot of things. I did think after seeing this movie, I was like, I know Andy's going to like this movie more than I do, but it's also just a difference in someone who is people who like the way that movies make them feel versus people who like movies and they need to think and have them make sense, you know? And I even saw Leo talking about this. He was asked about comparing Scorsese and PTA, and he did a little bit of comparing, but he's like, the biggest similarity between them is that they're really great at working with actors, and neither one of them is too worried about plot. They really will just go with what the actor feels, and sometimes that will change the whole story. And I'm like, that shows through and through.
Yeah.
Like, he clearly has a plot outlined, but it feels like every scene he's just kind of like, let's see what happens here. And it doesn't end up being, to me, a coherent narrative all the way through. It's very propulsive. You're right. Like, things just start happening in the movie, and it just keeps moving. But I was sitting there going like, but what is he really like developing here? It's like, what is happening in this movie? And the answer to me was like, not a lot. And it really showed right at the beginning the whole like disconnect between what I find interesting and what PTA finds interesting. The first scene with Sean Penn and the awkward thing that the exchange, and like, I know it's dark humor or whatever, but I was just like, this is just weird. And PTA, I know, thinks this is really funny, and I just don't think this is really funny. And this is kind of the disconnect between me and PTA right here.
You know what the funniest thing about everything you're saying is this is exactly what I would say about another PTA movie like The Master or even like Inherent Vice and stuff. I would be saying the same things. I don't know if this movie just caught me at in the right mood or I don't know, but it's
definitely better than those movies. I will give you that.
Yeah. But I again, I don't even think we're really having a disagreement as much as, like you said, it's more just about our personalities and what we take from movies.
Yeah. Because again, I will not tell you that I was like disappointed throughout this movie or bored during this movie. I will say this movie's too long. I think I was kind of laughing to myself about 2/3 of the way through the movie, remembering our conversation about Magnolia and his PTA's own view of Magnolia years later, where he had that great bit in the trivia about how he rewatched it and he was like, I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but he basically said it was like painfully long. It was unmercifully long or something like that. And I was like, PTA, you have not learned your lesson because you could have easily cut. This is a 3-hour movie that could have been 2, and you would have lost almost nothing critical to like the story. You just love to drag things out so long, and I think every scene. Here's the thing, though. I don't know where you would cut because no scene is more important than the other, and that's probably what makes editing his movies so hard. Is it's not like, well, we got to streamline the story. What story? You're just you're doing things, you know. So, but here's really like kind of the biggest issue with the movie for me is that as much as I think this is an amazing Leo performance, and right now he might be my lead for best actor for the year. Like I said, he's so good in it. He's so funny. His character is not the key character of the movie. In fact, his character is really incidental to the whole movie. If you took his character out of the movie, everything that propels the plot
Would still happen.
would continue just as yeah. And so I'm like, it's kind of an interesting thing, and like you said, a great thing for Leo to be willing to do a part that he could look at the script and go, you know, my character actually really doesn't do a lot. He just sort of, we follow him along, bumbling along as the main things are happening. But yeah, in the end, I was like, we followed him for a whole lot just for not really much of anything to happen with his character.
It's really a Sean Penn and Chase Infinity movie.
It is. Yeah, I mean, that's the crazy thing. It's everything that happens in the movie is because Sean Penn's character, what his character does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And really, there's not a lot of character development for any of them because it is sort of a propulsive movie. It's such a weird thing to say, propulsive movie, but it's 3 hours long, and somehow we don't really develop any of the characters. They're all pretty one-dimensional throughout the whole thing.
I again, we're just gonna sound like we're afraid to hurt each other's feelings. I don't disagree with that. I think I just found these characters so fascinating, and they were just so interesting, and just so interesting to watch up on the screen. I think one big difference between this and a Magnolia, which, you know, when we redid Magnolia, we both were like, not quite as good as I remembered.
Right.
And maybe another thing that just made me like this movie, I think it separates it from Magnolia, is it's just so much more action oriented. I mean, in Magnolia, he really fell in love with his characters just talking. And I'm not saying this isn't a talky movie, but this is also, maybe this is part of my enthusiasm too, is like, oh, okay, PTA, like, you can do action. Like, this isn't a spoiler, but I'll just say towards the end of the movie, there's this incredible chase, and they're in a very like hilly valley type situation, and I was just like, okay, PTA, like, this is really cool. I've never seen anything like this up on the screen before, and I think this movie too just hooked me at the beginning. Like, I really liked PTA doing almost like I mean, it'd be a long one, but it's almost in a way like a 30-minute kind of montage of the French, what are they, the French 75? Is that what they call them?
French 75.
The French 75, they're doing different bombings and heists and different things. And that stuff was just, I was just really digging that stuff.
Yeah. It's funny. Man, we're going to differ so much today.
It's all right.
I was talking to my friends after seeing the movie, and one of them pointed this out, and I was like, that's exactly what I was going to say. The score is great in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And that chase scene with the cars, I honestly, a lot of years, I would say if I was picking one thing to win an Oscar in this movie, it'd be the score. Unfortunately, this year, the best original score is going to be Sinners to Lose. Like,
yeah.
I can't imagine anything beating Sinners. But this one is really good. The filming of that scene, I actually didn't like.
Really?
The whole, like, weird perspective up and down on the hills. I was like, I could tell he's doing something, but I don't like it. I'm not digging this. It's not like I got motion sick or anything. I was just like, I don't enjoy this perspective. PTA definitely knows how to shoot a movie that looks like it was made in the 90s. I mean, it's 2025, and he's shooting whatever he's shooting on. I was just watching,
it's like, what is it?
He's got an old quality or something to it.
They filmed this with like VistaVision or something, which there's probably a lot of people out there that know way more than I do. I can't even explain it very well, but yeah.
And yeah, PTA is that filmmaker that like filmmakers love, and they probably, you know, watch the way it's filmed and they see it and they're like, oh, it was shot on this and it gives it this vibe and all of this. He's the artist that I don't get. Except for he's the artist that's actually talented I don't get. He's not the artist necessarily like we joked about last week, you know, putting a urinal on display. He's the artist with like weird brushes and stuff that I'm looking at going like, I don't quite get it, but I see there's talent here. And then, you know, that's PTA for me.
Sure, and that's how I've been with PTA. Basically, you know, Boogie Nights, awesome. Saw it in the theater. And then, you know, Magnolia. I've never been a big Punch Drunk Love guy. We've talked before. I think There Will Be Blood is a great performance and a not great movie.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, it was just like all the, you know, I say this a lot in here, but like with this movie, all the puzzle pieces just fell into place for me. From the performances, from the story to the, like I said, the weirdness, the really weird sense of humor. Look, you give me Benicio del Toro as a sensei in a movie, that automatically is going to make me really hard to dislike it. Sensei Sergio, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So this movie, PTA does not give a crap about structure in movies, and sometimes I really respect that for him. But sometimes it drives me a little nuts. As again, me, a very analytical person that needs structure and things to make sense. Which again is why I would not go. I would never say this is a bad movie. It's not a movie for me because I like those things so much. But the movie starts. It really is a Perfidia movie. The mom character, you know, Leo, like it's following her for a while, and then it becomes kind of a Leo movie, but then it becomes the daughter movie. Like
it does shift
it really
a lot.
shifts. It shifts around a lot, and he'll do weird things like you said, it's like a montage basically for like the first 30 minutes when it's really following Perfidia, like going through their background with, and at one point all of a sudden she's doing voiceover, and it lasts for like a minute, and then it goes away, and we never have voiceover again. It's like, boy, he really does not care. He'll just randomly do voiceover in his movie for a minute and then never again.
He sure will.
And yeah, he doesn't care about characters just disappearing and never coming back. I was shocked she never came back.
That's what I was just going to say. I mean, that's a big swing. I mean, it is a Perfidia? Is that right?
Perfidia.
Perfidia
is what it is.
It's a Perfidia movie for the first 20 to 30 minutes. And then, like, I mean, kind of spoilery, but yeah, I mean, she's gone. And, you know, in any other movie, you know, in a key part of the movie, all of a sudden she'd come back walking through the doors, you know, that someone would be getting ready to kill the daughter and she'd just show back up. Not here. She's gone.
Yeah. And it's very vague about whether she's even still alive or not.
At one point, someone throws out a line that's like, I heard she was in Cuba, I think, or someone says something like, or Haiti or something, or both, maybe.
Yeah. But I think Sean Penn's character, Lockjaw, makes a comment about killing her at one point, but you don't know if he's just talking trash to the daughter or not. Yeah. But yeah. Well, let's talk through some of the specifics about the movie, even though, again, it's kind of a hard movie to talk specifics about.
It really is.
One thing we haven't mentioned on yet, that really the inciting thing, we said that Sean Penn's character is the one who sort of instigates everything that happens in the movie. But really the thing behind him is that he's trying to join basically like a white supremacist cult.
Dude.
They're called like the Christmas something. And they're like, yeah, Hail Saint Nick and all this stuff. It's just
wild.
White supremacist. It's really weird dark comedy because they play it so straight, but it's clearly meant to be like ridiculous and a spoof of white supremacists.
I mean, and some of the things they're saying, I'll just say, some of the things they're saying about black people are just absolutely the worst possible things people could be saying. But like you said, these guys are playing it so straight, and it's, you know, it's hard to be offended when it's so clearly just, like you said, meant to be kind of a knock on these white supremacist groups. And I mean, kudos to these actors that are doing this, because I think they're really good.
Yeah, the one scene where they call the guy in to the secret meeting.
Dude, I love that scene.
They're like debriefing him about what Lockjaw's done when he's going after the daughter character, and he raided this one like plant that makes chicken or whatever. And when they say it, like they raided this such plant, and the guy goes, "Oh, I love their chicken nuggets."
Oh my gosh!
And you're just like, you start laughing, you're like, these terrible people just like talking about loving chicken nuggets, and he's like, "Well, I'm afraid there might be a chicken nugget shortage now."
Oh my gosh!
Like those things are so weird, and I'll admit, like that felt very like PTA sense of humor, where he likes to have just this. He likes odd stuff. He likes socially awkward a lot.
Oh, don't get me wrong. This dude's a huge weirdo. I mean, Boogie Nights may be the most normal movie he's made, if that tells you anything.
it does say a lot.
Yeah.
But I would say that this one definitely brought to mind Boogie Nights a lot because of Boogie Nights had the most humor of any movie that he's made. And because it did the similar thing with like Boogie Nights is about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, like it shifts, because at one point you got I think the best stretch of Boogie Nights is when they're trying to make a record.
Oh my gosh.
And they're all on cocaine. And it's like this weird cocaine music comedy for like 10 minutes in the movie.
And Mark Wahlberg has no idea how bad he is. And
yes, he's singing terrible. They're arguing with the guy. We got to get the tapes in order to get the deal, to get the money, and all of that. And then it becomes this movie that's like about this weird drug deal gone wrong where they're going to hold this guy up with,
And the guy's just randomly
Alfred
throwing,
Molina.
yeah, he's just throwing firecrackers.
And you're watching all this going like, this is for long stretches, it just departs from being a movie that's about what it is, you know? And anyways, so that reminds me of this movie where he's just not afraid to be like, my movie's just about something else now for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, we're just taking the off ramp here and exploring a different avenue.
Yeah. So yeah, all that, like the whole movie basically happens because Sean Penn's character is wannabe white supremacist, but he actually like is very attracted to black women, and he has this kind of forced affair. It really toes the line of like, you know, was it just straight up rape, or was it, you know, like a mutually beneficial thing because he catches the girl and then
Sean Penn has an amazing description for it at the end of the movie.
He does.
Yeah, I won't say it on here, but it's incredible.
Right. But anyway, so then you kind of like, I don't know at what point you suspected. We should put a spoiler warning. I know we've already kind of gotten into spoiler stuff. We've been talking about this, but we're going to get into spoilers. It's hard not to talk about this movie. Yeah. But I think probably early on, you might start suspecting that the daughter might be Sean Penn's and not Leonardo DiCaprio's. I had a friend say it like at the same time I was thinking it in the theater. I saw two friends and one of them said, the daughter's going to be his, you know, or something like that. And like, that's really what the movie's about, is he's going to join this white supremacy group, this like high level secrecy, you know, whatever group. And he can't have any of this stuff in his past. So he can't have that. He's got a mixed race daughter in his past. So it's all about him trying to track her down just to get rid of her.
Yeah.
So he can pass their like background check. That's really what the movie's about.
That is what the movie's about. And I will say, whether you like the movie or not, kudos to the marketing of the movie. It doesn't tip its hat towards that at all.
No, I mean, like, with the marketing of the movie, it shows you very little Sean Penn, and you would have no idea he's playing this total weirdo that he is in this movie.
No, I just thought his part was like BA military general.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get that first scene with him, and you're like, wait a second, what? Yeah.
Yeah, it takes you like a few scenes before you really kind of catch on to what you're watching.
This guy's a freak show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm trying to remember the exact moment, and now it's kind of all a blur. I'm like, is it the moment where he's going to meet those guys the first time, and he takes out his comb and he like sucks on the comb to like slick his hair back? That might have been the first moment where you're like, oh, this guy's just a total weirdo.
This guy's just a weirdo. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got all that. As I said, Leo, the best part of this movie, but like, so what happens is Lockjaw ends up catching, as you said, the mom character, Perfidia, and he makes her tell where all the other characters of the French 75 are and promise to like put her in witness protection, thinking he's going to stash her away for himself. She gives up her fellow revolutionaries, but then she runs off once she puts them in witness protection. But so he rounds them up, gets a lot of credit for that. But Leo and his daughter go off into hiding. They have to take off into hiding, and so that's where they've been for like, what is it, 15 years they've been in hiding.
I think they say 15, 16 a couple different times.
Yeah, because I think the daughter's supposed to be 16, but she was like a baby, you know, I don't know, close to a 1-year-old, I guess, when they took off. So anyway, so when we catch up to Leo, like he's
just burnt out.
One of the great, like, you know, movie mysteries that often happens is like, how is this guy paying for anything? Because apparently all he does is just sit around and drink and smoke weed, and that's it. In their little hideout. Not that they're living a really like high class life or anything.
Right.
But I mean, my favorite scene of the movie is him talking to his daughter.
Oh my gosh!
At the table, and you see a little bit of it in the preview, where he's talking about going out the night before, and
it's incredible.
She's like, "How did you get home?" He's like, "What do you mean? How did I get home?" She's like, "How'd you get home?" He's like, "I drove home." She's like, "You drove home last night?" And she's like getting on to him. He's like, "Honey, I know how to drink and drive," and that's when he does the great little like from the preview, the little shrug. That's gonna be a meme. You know, that's gonna
100%.
It's like every Leo movie has one great meme, you know.
Oh yeah.
You've got the
you got him dancing in Wolf of Wall Street.
Django Unchained, like, you know, little Raids of a Glass where he turns around. You've got the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Point. You know, there it is. He just always got a great meme, and that's got to be the one. To like, I know how to drink and drive, and then that shrug, like,
it's incredible.
You know, I'm good.
It's incredible. It's unreal how good someone who is so clearly not a loser, like DiCaprio, is at playing a loser. Like, he makes it seem effortless.
He really does. But then the car driving up to pick up his daughter, and he's like freaking out, and he's like, "Your friend he just drives a red car like that."
Yes,
It's so loud, and
he
it's like
plays
just a normal
Paranoia
sounding
so
car.
good. He plays Paranoia
It's so good. I was cackling.
And what does he call him? Does he call him Homie?
Something like
I think
that.
he says homie. Like DiCaprio trying to relate to these teenagers is some of the funniest stuff of the year.
Yeah, but at the same time, trying to do the intimidating dad thing, and
Oh
he
my
pulls
gosh.
the guy
He
in. And he
leans-
says, yeah, he's like, whatever you do to her, I'm going to do to your whole family. And he's like, what are you doing, Dad? He's like, we're talking about freedom, honey.
Oh my gosh, just incredible.
So good.
Incredible. And
So good.
And a great line too that they did give away in the trailer. What does she say? Like, just roll the cards, and he's like, it's dice.
Yeah,
it's dice.
Yeah. Yep. You don't roll cards, honey.
You don't roll
It's
cards, it's
dice.
dice. Like all that stuff is unbelievable. And that's too going back to Chase Infinity, just praising her. Like her main part in this movie is to hold her own against DiCaprio and Sean Penn, which is crazy, and she does it.
Yeah. So you got Leo doing that stuff. The other best parts of the movie, again, it's all the best parts to me for Leo, was him on the phone with the guy trying to get the information for extraction, where they really milk it. And I don't mean milk it to the point where it's bad. I just mean they get a lot of mileage out of them having to remember all these passwords and him being a burnout who can't remember any of the passwords and just yelling at the guy about him being a stickler for the passwords.
It's
so funny.
What is that guy's name? What does he call himself? Something Josh. Like Confidant Josh or something like that. And it's real,
Comrade Josh.
Comrade
maybe,
Josh.
yeah.
I think it's Comrade Josh. And DiCaprio just despises this guy. And you're right. It's incredible how much. I mean, they skate right toward to the edge of like, all right, guys, we get it. Like, we get the joke. But it's incredible. And I love how DiCaprio's just like, look, man, I've done a lot of drugs. I don't remember this stuff.
Yeah, he does that waffling back and forth between like, I'm going to try to be nice so this guy will work with me, and
then
then I
just
lose my
loses
cool
it.
and yell at him. But, oh man, and then I'm just going to spoil it, because we're in spoilers.
Yeah.
When he finally goes over the guy's head and gets approval, and the whole question that he couldn't get was, what time is it? And he's like, I can't remember what the thing is. And finally, when he gets the approval by going over the guy's head, he goes, just tell, I gotta know, what's the time thing? And the guy goes, time does not exist, yet we're slaves to it anyway. He just loses his mind.
Gets
He's
so
like,
angry.
You gotta be freaking kidding me.
And then there's also
Yeah,
a great gag too, where he's, what time is it? This is my child's life depends on this. And then Benicio del Toro just casually, he's like 8:15. Like he just tells him what the actual time is.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, Del Toro, man. We've talked about it before, how good he is.
He is so good.
And again, Leo is doing awesome stuff by doing the most. Leo's like, I'm gonna chew the scenery, I'm gonna be big, I'm gonna make a scene. And Del Toro's like, I'm gonna do so little,
That it's
but it's
gonna
gonna
be
be
funny.
perfect. Especially in contrast to how big Leo's being.
Absolutely.
And because I'm playing the sensei. I'm the Zen guy, I'm just chill, I'm drinking beers. Because he's also kind of ridiculous. Like at first you might think like he's not ridiculous. When he shows up to pick Leo up, I'm trying to remember, like, how do they... Leo gets arrested, and Leo gets out somehow, and he picks him up.
He's got like a group inside the hospital, and they're like, oh, he's diabetic. Send him.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they let him escape, and as soon as he gets in the car, Del Toro like hands him a 6-pack of beer.
Unbelievable. It's unreal.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And then even when they drive past the cops, and Leo's got the beer up, and he's like, "Whoa, got to put it down, man!" And he puts it down. As soon as they get past the cop, they both go back to chugging.
Yeah, they do.
It's just...
And that's another just incredible scene I was so into, where it's like, okay, lean out the window. You're going to jump out of the car on 4. It's like, come on, Bob, go. But Del Toro never gets frustrated. He's just like, Bob, you need to jump out of the car, and all this, like everything just works.
He says 4 multiple. He's like 4. 4.
Yeah.
Like, gotta go. Yeah. It's so good.
It's so good. And then there's just little stuff, like DiCaprio's like, do you have any weapons here? All I can find is nunchucks. And it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yep. Even Del Toro, which it's shown just a glimpse of it in the preview, that when the cops finally catch up to him, and you just get that like 10 seconds of Del Toro, and he's back up to him, but he's like salsa dancing back to him. It's
like PTA's one rule was like, nobody do anything normal in this movie. Like everything you do has to be weird.
Yeah. Can we talk about what I think is the best shot scene in the movie? And that's DiCaprio running across rooftops, trying to keep up with those skater guys who are leading him to the car. And it's almost just silhouettes. And honestly, I was sitting there watching, going, "This has to be Ninja Turtles inspired," because like
Yeah.
there's been so many animated Ninja Turtles of them running and jumping across rooftops and like doing flips and stuff. And these guys aren't quite doing flips, but they're like all young and athletic skateboarders that are like just almost parkouring across these roofs. And poor Leo is just struggling to keep up.
He's like the perfect distance behind them. Like he's kind
Yes.
of keeping up, but not really. And then you get the all-time best, like somebody falls
Yes.
scene in a movie.
Yes, and I would love to see the behind the scenes how they do this, because it seems like a pretty like continuous
Like
tracking
it doesn't
shot.
cut away. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean they do a great job of it. Like I said, it's mostly almost silhouettes. You can barely tell who the people are, so I'm sure it wasn't Leo, or if it was, like they can rig things up because it's dark enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, he tries to jump and doesn't make the jump and falls multiple stories, but kind of crashes through a tree that like saves him from dying and like hits the ground still pretty hard. And he gets up and starts walking and gets tased almost immediately. It's a lot. And
It's a lot.
Awesome.
It's a lot, and it's awesome. And it ventures into like slapstick comedy there for a minute, and it's incredible.
Yeah. And that's where I go to like the weird thing about this is I think what I have such a hard time getting my head around is this whole movie is a comedy shot like it's serious drama. But there are moments, like there's moments that are not comedic. I mean, like that end chase scene with the cars not comedic.
No.
The whole escape for his daughter when she's captured and that bounty hunter guy decides to like help her out.
No, that's tense.
All that stuff's very tense. And so like the weird sort of jumping back and forth and blending of genre he does, I think it's interesting. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think it leaves all the comedy working really well. And it just kind of leaves the serious stuff not working for me as well. And that's why I go, like, if this whole movie was just 2 hours of mostly Bob being Bob, I would have thought this movie was epic.
See, and I like the jumping around, and I think it makes the violence and stuff pop more when you do kind of have that goofy tone. And since we're already into spoilers, like, real kind of shocking part of the movie, Sean Penn passes off his daughter to that guy. He's like, you get rid of her. And that guy's like, I don't kill children, blah, blah, blah. And he's just driving, and the dude from the Christmas Society just pulls up next to him, honks, Penn rolls out his window. He just blasts Penn right in the face with a shotgun. And you're like, oh my gosh. Like that. I'll just say this too. Probably a lot of my love for this movie is because PTA, you can tell he's a big Scorsese guy. He does a lot of Scorsese tricks, and Scorsese is my favorite. So kind of makes sense that I like this so much. But that's, to me, I guess I'm just saying all that to say this. Like the comedy and the goofiness, to me, it makes that violence and stuff kind of pop in a good way.
Yeah. The scene that I maybe liked the least, that I felt like really dragged, and we're jumping all over the place. If people haven't seen this movie, they're not going to follow what we're talking about at all. But it's a hard one to talk about really just in sequence, because
It's so hard.
It's kind of all over the place sequentially. Not that it's told out of order, but just it's just hard. But the scene where Sean Penn has the daughter and he's got her tied up in the monastery and he's doing the paternity test.
Yeah.
None of that, like that scene went on so long, and that's the part where I was like, all right, buddy, like this is the one where you're gonna look back at this movie 10 years from now and you're gonna go, oh, okay, I could have edited. Like this scene needed to be 3 minutes long, and it was a 10-minute long scene.
Fair enough, but I was super into her, kind of struggling against him, and I just loved her, like, just yelling at him. It led to the funniest moment of the movie to me when she goes, "Why is your shirt so tight?" And then Sean Penn's response is just unbelievable. I won't spoil it. We'll leave some things left unsaid, but it's incredible.
That was a good exchange. Yeah, I can't argue
Yeah.
that.
See,
But when they're loading, like he's waiting on that test to load, and the whole like if it's straight line, I'm gonna like all of that. I was like, I'm honestly at the point where I don't care what the test shows. I just don't care.
Yeah.
Because it's not made me care about any result of this movie yet. Like none of this has got me rooting for any specific conclusion. I mean, like obviously I kind of don't want Sean Penn's character to win because he's a sleazebag, but
Right.
I don't know. Like, yeah.
I guess too, like, I just like too how it leads to, so Sean Penn, gets away with the girl, and then I love DiCaprio chasing them, and he's kind of good at it, but he also loses them several times, and like all that stuff was really good.
Yeah. So we're, like I said, we're definitely into big spoilers now. So I said that was probably my least favorite scene in the movie. I'm gonna have to immediately amend that because my least favorite thing in the movie was actually there was absolutely no reason to bring back Sean Penn. Just have one extra scene of him in heavy makeup and then kill him again.
Oh my
like,
gosh. I
was
loved
like,
it. I
why-
loved it. The visual of those guys wheeling him out once he's already dead, they're wheeling him out on that chair, and he's still kind of like leaned back like he was. So they poison him. There's the big spoiler, and they just chuck him in like a crematory thing. And I don't know. It just by that point I was just so into this movie. This is like the very very end of the movie.
Yeah, to me that was the stretch that reminded me the most of Eddington, where I was like, this is when Joaquin Phoenix is paralyzed. That's how I felt watching that last bit of that movie. Because again, again, full disclosure of where I was in this movie, really needed to use the restroom like an hour left, and sometimes that just exasperates when I feel like a scene's dragging on too long. Where I'm like, oh great, like I've got to watch 10 more minutes of this for no reason, and I can't go to the bathroom because what if something interesting happened? And then I was like, there's nothing interesting happened there.
Gosh. See,
I say
love
nothing. It. You could say things in there and be like, okay, that was funny. Like you said, when he was explaining the daughter.
Oh my gosh.
It's
I think
it's a little humorous.
It is humorous. And I think there's just something so good about Penn, like when they tell him he gets in, like he like gets like I guess I just found a lot of humor in how this is his ultimate goal in life is to become a member of this awful, awful society. And just his earnestness about being in it, I just thought that was all incredible.
Yeah, we'll not argue with you one bit.
We don't always have to agree, Jeremy. We just have for like the last 2.5 years.
That's that's so true. It's actually fun to disagree every once in a while, just to show that we are different people.
We are.
That there is a point in having two of us on here instead of one.
Right.
I will say, obviously, this is no surprise. The critics are much more in agreement with you. They gave it a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Audiences were 85%, I believe. Yeah, 85%.
I think that's pretty good for a movie like this.
Yeah. I've already seen headlines that say things like, best movie of the year. Headlines that more in agreement with you.
Yeah.
And, that doesn't surprise me. Like I said, PTA is a very celebrated filmmaker. Even some of his more celebrated stuff I've not been a fan of. I was not a big fan of There Will Be Blood. I agree with you. Great performance in a movie that just bores me to tears overall, because there's not really a story there. It's just, are you going to be interested in watching a great performance for 2 hours long or however long it is? This one was more entertaining. That to me, this might even be my favorite PTA movie.
Yeah.
But just in the end, like I said, I definitely do not want to communicate that I did not like this movie.
Right.
I just don't think it's going to stick, because I don't think the things that tend to stick with me
are in this movie.
I don't think we're in there.
Yeah.
That said, I think it's the type of movie where I'm going to really enjoy when those clips of Leo scenes get put on social media, and I'll probably watch all of those.
Yeah. What do you think this movie will do with the Oscars?
I think it's going to do well, if for no other reason than we've talked about, there's not been a lot of movies that feel like traditional Oscar movies this year. I've been looking for what are the Oscars going to like, because I think that Oscars will like Sinners. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, some of our favorite movies I don't think the Oscars are going to like. I don't think the Oscars are going to like Weapons, unfortunately. I would love for them to.
I would too.
But I don't think they will.
Yeah.
So I think this movie is kind of the movie that the Oscars have been waiting for.
I do too. Yeah.
I could see PTA getting a lot of love for Best Director. I could see Leo for Actor, Penn for Supporting Actor. The score, like I said, being nominated, even though that's the one that I just can't see it beating Sinners.
Same.
Yeah, I don't know who the cinematographer was. I'm sure he'll get recognized too, because there was, like I said, we talked about it. The look of it that had a very distinct kind of 90s look to it to me. The shots, like you talked about, the chase over the hill, there are things that stand out about the filmmaking. The running across the rooftops, that was really great filmmaking.
Yeah.
We talked about.
There's that cool shot when they rob the bank at the beginning where she's running from the police, and it's like the overhead shot of the city and stuff like that. That was really cool.
Yeah, there was
great,
you're right, good stuff.
Great running by her in this movie, by the way.
Yeah,
by the actress who plays Peripheria Beverly Hills. Great running from her.
Yeah. Wild names in this movie.
Unbelievable names in this movie. Unbelievable. Some I can't even repeat on here.
even I mean Leonardo DiCaprio's character, his name is Bob, but that's his like
That's his
his relocated
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
Yeah, like I can't remember what his name was before that.
I
I mean,
don't-
he's got the nicknames like you joked about at the beginning of the episode.
Rocket
where,
Man. They call him a couple really
Yeah.
wild things. I don't even remember.
Yeah. Uh, I wish they would have just explored a few more things
Sure.
about the character dynamics. You know, like I mean, I think it's interesting. Like this guy who was a revolutionary and blew things up, but it kind of this is where I feel like a hypocrite. And I've been trying to rectify this in my mind because I'm a huge fan of show don't tell, and this movie is definitely a show don't tell. But the problem is I just don't think they really even show enough, and so you know I can look at it and go like, well, there is some character development to Leo's character because he's this revolutionary who likes to blow things up, and he's not as extreme as his wife. And when they have this kid, he's like. He goes, well, everything's changed now. We got a family, and he loves this kid, and he just wants to be a dad and
She
take care
wants
of
to
it.
keep being a
and forgets
revolutionary.
about the revolutionary stuff. Yeah, and I'm like, that's interesting, and it's there,
They-
but it's not really there. You know, yeah,
That's
they
fair.
don't really explore it. And like, I'm like, I would have been way more interested in the movie that has some more of that dynamic and lets him explore that a little more. And you know, you got one of the best actors alive in Leo, you know, to do this part, and you could have given him a little more complexity to his character. Not that I think he lacked for any greatness in this performance because he's so daggum funny, like I said. But you know, I would have loved to have seen some more of that dynamic explored.
Sure.
If you know, that's the type of movie I would have latched onto more.
Fair enough.
I guess is what I'm getting at.
I also love,
Yeah.
I love how at the end of the movie too, like the very last scene of the movie when it's him and his daughter, he's still just a pothead. Like he hasn't changed one bit.
Yeah,
I thought that was great. And then just really great like needle drop for the credits, you know, Tom Petty's American Girl or whatever the actual name of that song is. And just like by the time that happened, I just knew this is a movie I'm gonna talk about for a long, long time. And I think it's a movie that you know, obviously you're not as high on it, but I do think this is a movie that's going to be brought up a lot when people talk about the great movies of the last 10 years or so.
I would not be surprised. One thing I did want to mention before we get even close to wrapping up here is that One Battle After Another was originally called Battle of Bacton Cross, right? Wasn't that the original title of it?
I've heard that somewhere along the way.
I've only vaguely remembered that when we were doing like our most anticipated a while back, that I think that was the working title, and we were kind of like, well, there's a new PTA movie with Leo, and it's called like the Battle of Bacton Cross, and I was like, that's not a great name, and then it became One Battle
Yeah.
After Another. That's a great upgrade.
It is.
In names.
Good upgrade.
I was a little disappointed. This is again. I'm not really nitpicking. This is just personal preference. There is a little bit of Leo voiceover, and he says, "Since then, it's been one battle after another," and then like 30 seconds later, we get a big one battle after another like title screen or 30 whatever it was. I was like, they could have lined that
Line
up
it
so much
up.
better,
Yeah.
where he says it and then boom, it hits.
Yeah.
Maybe that's too on the nose for PTA. He's probably like, that's amateur hour.
Could
I'm
be.
more sophisticated.
Yeah.
But like, just for me, I was like, oh, that annoys me. You did it there and you had it here. And but anyways, I thought it was a much better title. And when they mentioned Bacton Cross was where he was living,
Yes.
and I turned to my friend Nathaniel and said, that was the original title of this movie was the Battle of Bacton Cross. So like,
Big
you
upgrade.
can kind of see why it was called that, because after that 30-minute like montage to get you to the point,
That's
most
what-
of the movie takes place, where they arrive at Bacton Cross, and that's what's going on.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Andy, what can you tell me about the box office for this movie?
So it did open at number 1. I think it ended up making like 22 million in the U.S. I think it's just under 50 million worldwide. But this is an expensive movie. I've read this is a $150 million movie. Needs to make close to $300 million to start looking at profit. So I don't know if we're going to get there or not. I do think this will have some staying power. I really do, even for the kind of movie it is and the length of it. And then I think it'll get another, like, you know, it's not uncommon for movies to kind of be re-released after they get a lot of Oscar nominations and still kind of get a bump from that. So I don't know. I mean, it seems wild to me that someone was willing to greenlight a $150 million PTA movie. This guy is, whether you like him or don't like him, he's not a box office powerhouse at all. So
Right.
we'll see. I mean, I 50 million worldwide opening for a movie that is hard to market. Like the trailer I thought was fine, but like I'll say, like, we talked about it. Like this trailer didn't blow me away. And I remember watching the trailer being like, man, the tone of this seems weird. So like it's a tough movie to market. So
Yeah.
it's going to be telling how much staying power it has.
Yeah. I mentioned before when we were talking about that there was going to be the next movie that we did that I was going to be curious to see about the box office, not just for PTA, but for Leo. Because Leo is such an interesting star to me because he is one of our biggest stars, but because he always makes interesting choices, his movies are not always big box office movies. Um, and like I said, almost any person you talk to, if you say there's a new Leo movie, they're going to know like who Leo is.
Yeah.
But I don't know a lot of people that hear that and go, "Well, I've got to go see it. I've got to go see the new Leo movie,"
Yeah.
because he just doesn't have a track record with most people. Most people he doesn't do mainstream stuff. I'll just put it that way. People don't know him from Marvel. He doesn't have like a John Wick franchise or
He
something.
doesn't do sequels.
So like, yeah, like your average movie person doesn't have like this big connection to Leo, even though he's been a big star for a long time.
He is fascinating though, because he's had movies. I was kind of looking at his box office and stuff, and he's elevated. Like The Revenant or something, ended up making like $400 million. Like he has this weird power to him, and that's another movie. That's another good example of a movie that just kind of kept making money because people kept talking about it and talking about his performance and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of uncharted territory for PTA to have such a high budget movie. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I guess the magic formula to it is just if you can pair Leo with like a simple, one of those we talk about like one sentence explanation of the movie, so Revenant is you got Leo and he's surviving in the wilderness after a bear attack.
Leo fights a
Everyone's
bear.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, I'm in. Whereas this one, give me the one sentence summary
Impossible.
of one battle after another, and you're like, well, and I had people do that, and you tell people ask me, what are you potting on this week? What movie are you seeing? One battle after another. What is that? New Leo movie. It's about I can't explain it.
I know.
And that's tough.
So Molly was asking me like, should I go see this movie? Because I didn't see it with her. Side note, Ryan went to see this movie, my son Ryan, and he now thinks this is his favorite movie of all time. Just throwing that out there.
That would mean something to me if Ryan didn't also really like him.
I don't even want to
now
talk.
we don't acknowledge his movie
No,
taste.
you need to delete his. You need to strike the Fantastic Four pod from the record. But so Molly was texting me and she's like, "Should I go see this movie?" And I loved it. Blah blah blah. And then she texted me, "Is it an action movie?" Question mark. And I was like, I don't know." And I wasn't trying to be difficult with her. I was just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I would say this is an action movie or not. There is action in it, but yeah, it's a tough movie to describe to somebody. So
Yeah.
I really don't know what to expect for the end result box office for this movie. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. You may be surprised for people to hear me say this after all I've said about the movie, but I hope that studios continue to give PTA and people like him money to do movies like this, even if it doesn't perform as well as they hope.
I do too. I mean, if we can give Marvel $700 gajillion to make the fourth Thor movie, give score, and they have been lately. I will say, like Killers of the Flower Moon, had an enormous budget, and so I don't know. We'll see, but that's probably maybe a conversation for a different time. But at some point, to justify it, these movies have to perform. So it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
They do. Yeah. So next week, the big release is The Smashing Machine,
Yeah.
starring The Rock. That's been one of my most anticipated for the second half of the year. I'll say this: I was looking at the slated movies for the rest of the year, and I'm sure there'll be some surprises that come along that I enjoy that I had no idea were coming. There's not a lot of movies that I feel a lot of anticipation for left in this calendar year.
Yeah.
And The Smashing Machine is one of them. I've said before, I really like The Rock,
I did
but
too.
if I really look through his IMDb, there's not a lot of movies that I'm like, hey, great movie, and I'm really hoping that maybe this is the one that we look at and go, great movie for The Rock.
It'd be wild if The Rock was an Academy Award nominated actor.
It would. One of my friends made the comparison. I thought great comparison. He said, I hope The Smashing Machine is like Iron Claw. And I was like, yeah, that's a great one. Like, I hope this is for The Rock what Iron Claw was for Zac Efron.
I do too, because I still say Zac Efron got screwed out of an Oscar nomination for the Iron Claw.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm looking forward to this one, seeing what The Rock can do, and yeah, I'm excited.
Directed by one of the Safdie brothers,
Yep.
which is the Safdie brothers are interesting. They each seem to be like maybe kind of branching out and doing something a little different. They both kind of have sports movies coming out.
Yeah,
but
because the other one's got
is
to
like
do with
a ping pong movie with Timothy
Chalamet,
Chalamet, which
yeah.
I'm really curious to see just what even the tone of that movie is. Because
Did you see the trailer at One Battle After Another?
I didn't.
I did, and I was like,
I guess I missed the trailer.
like, what is this movie? Yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, I'm excited for
but
the
anyways,
Smashing Machine.
Yeah, so what I was gonna say is the Safdie brothers are both known for that real like crazy energy in their movies and high anxiety movies, and Uncut Gems and whatnot. And this, I mean, the Smash Machine looks more like a traditional sports, movie drama. Of course, it's based on a real story, so you can only take so much artistic license with it. But yeah, so I'm really interested to see that one.
I am too. I'm excited to see what The Rock can do in a more serious movie. So
Yeah. All right, Andy. Well, this is, we say it every week, but I think this week more than any other week, because we're divided, I really want to hear from the audience and want to know, are people siding with you or are people siding with me? And I have a feeling, again, based on these scores and what I've seen early, is that a lot of people are going to side with you, Andy, and not with me.
listen, if you guys want to come over to the right side of things, just come over to my side. Viva la revolution. And
Well said. Well played.
So, and this is a historic episode. Mathematically speaking, it'll probably be 2.5 years until we disagree again. If the trend continues. So maybe it'll be PTA's next movie that we'll disagree on.
Very well could be.
You're right though. It is important for us to both have our different opinions.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening to Andy and I just argue with each other
Oh,
for
we were
the past.
at each other's throats.
We're too nice, Andy.
We
we
are.
don't even know how to argue with
We
each other.
don't.
But the reality is, I just don't feel strongly enough. If this isn't like if one of us came in here loving him, there would have been probably some
That
shouting.
would probably
on
be
one,
that'd
but-
probably be the end of the podcast. By the way, did you see that text I sent you that him just absolutely plummeted the second weekend?
Oh, yeah.
Like 70, what was it, like 73% or something? Like that movie's gone. Like it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen.
Deservedly so.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us this week.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week for the Smashing Machine. And in the meantime, go see One Battle After Another. Let us know what you think.
Absolutely.